Buoyancy is the upward force on an object that is in fluid. We are using water for our fluid. The force on our objects, which are water bottles, will either make it sink or float. As we see, the first bottle is empty, and we'll see if it floats. Now, we see that it floats because the buoyancy force is greater than the weight of the object. If we use an object that has more weight to it, this is lemonade, by the way, we'll see that it sinks to the bottom because the buoyancy force is less than the weight of the object. But what if the object has liquid and air inside of it? What does that make it? It makes a bob. It kind of in the middle, which means that the buoyancy force is equal to the weight of the water bottle. Now, when we use density is mass divided by volume equals density. The rock is more dense than the ice, which means it's heavier. So we put the ice, or even that, multiple ice, inside of this container, you see that it all floats. But this one rock sinks right to the bottom. It's because it's heavier, it has more density. The atoms are more close together. The atoms of ice, they're more spread apart. Now, if you want to talk about displacement, it's some things that are flat. If it's flat enough, wide enough, it could, even if it was this rock, it could technically float. It would just have to be very, very, very wide and very, very flat, maybe with a little curvage to it, to displace the water. Like a lot of our Navy ships. Our Navy ships are a lot heavier than this rock. Navy ships are tons of steel, but they float because they displace the water properly by the angle and the angle of the bow of the ship and the stern. The way it's angled is how it's able to displace the water. So another thing is like density. Another big thing about density is even the density of the water makes a difference. The density of the water, if we're in the Dead Sea versus the ocean. Like let's say this is ocean water. This would happen if I was in the ocean. But if I was in the Dead Sea, I could drop this, and instead of me sinking to the bottom like this rock does, I would float like this water bottle does because the density of the Dead Sea is greater than the density of the ocean due to the salt content. And that's how buoyancy works.